Stations missile for WSRT. Spin up all missiles.
And welcome back. It is the Subvet. I'm Dave.
And I'm Eric.
And we are
I'm Judd.
Judd. Again.
We got Judd return.
So I've been gone for a while. It's been a tough month, I guess. And it's an even tougher day today. For those of you, I know the entire country is going through this right now. Just spent a week and a half in Oklahoma where it was 95, 99 degrees, but it was about 1,000,000% humidity. That's what they call summer. But upon arriving home at the Pacific Northwest, where it is also 95, 99 degrees, humidity about 60%, this is not what we are used to in the summertime. And most houses here do not, including mine, do not have built-in air conditioning. So I am sitting in an 89 degree studio right now, sweating like profusely. But
we used to be, I don't think they have those places anymore, like ice houses where you used to be able to buy a big block of ice and you put it in front of a fan and there you go. You got your cool air. And then the water melts all over the floor and your wife kills you.
Right. We actually have 3 window units that we purchased. It's kind of funny because the news media was whining this week because everybody sold out of air conditioner units. And this means that the people who, quote, really need air conditioning won't be able to get them, unquote. So those of us that thought ahead and bought units ahead of time, and we have them, but they're in the bedrooms, which this is not. So it's like, well,
the studio is not considered a bedroom. So, well, you got to talk the person that runs a budget into one for your studio.
Yeah, I have the old one that we replaced, but again, if I turn it on right now, the fan on, it's going to sound like I'm in a wind tunnel. So we can't do that. Anyway, it's very hot here.
We also got. Yeah, it's very well. Along with the weather, there's flash floods that are running across the Missouri all the way into Kentucky. I mean, I guess there's an entire small town in Kentucky wiped out. So that would be, I don't know, 13 people or something like that. But no, I mean, it's just bad. I mean, I'm joking, but there's bad weather everywhere. It's going, you got heat waves, you got rainstorms, and we're expecting a lot of rain here in Denver as well. And Judd's going to get killed this year by hurricanes, right, Judd?
Negative. That's the best part of this climate change issue is that it's so hot that those hurricanes are moving south and going to continue to hit South America, maybe Venezuela, and go into the Gulf or something like that. Less and less coming to Florida. So
thought we were went in Florida's favor, right?
Yeah, it's in Florida's favor because we were supposed to be completely underwater in 50 years. That was 20 years ago. They had this map and it showed state of Florida, and then they showed 50 years later the entire state gone because it's just a big sandbox.
Oh, I used to, I remember you saying that. So.
Which is why they keep building condos in Miami.
They're barriers for the rest of the state.
They block the water.
Speaking of hurricanes and submarines, how many hurricanes at sea for you guys?
I was on the West Coast.
So was I.
Yeah, I went on.
Oh well,
I went under Hugo in '89. That was I think we were going down to the op for TRE. I'll take action.
We had a storm and it was Cat 3, but I don't know. See, I get confused. Typhoon, hurricane. It's like they changed the name something. But we thought we were quite a ways away from it. And you kids today won't understand this because you're used to, email communications and all that kind of stuff. We didn't used to have that. Remember when we used to have to come up and copy the broadcast and
all that special stuff.
Yeah.
So the last weather report we had, we were like 400 miles from this storm. So CO decides we're going to scram the plant, do a slow recovery drill, come up to snorkel, and we are not 400 miles from the storm anymore. We are smack dab in the middle of that sucker. And it was probably the most fun night I'd ever had at sea. I mean, it really, because I'm not bragging here. I'm just blessed. I don't get seasick. I get violently car sick, but I don't get seasick. And so we were taking some pretty good rolls, and it was pointless to try to stay at periscope depth. So they just broached the ship, and slow recovery. You know how long that takes.
Anybody walk around with a plastic bag to stand watch?
We had a whole group of people in the cruise lounge, and on a T-hull, the cruise lounge forward third level missile compartment, and the bench is on the outboard, right? So you get all these guys on the outboard with the table. They can't really get in and out in a hurry. They're kind of stuck there. The crackers on the table, and they're all just heads on the desk, and I was walking through. I don't remember what I was doing, but I was walking through probably with a cup of coffee or something, and I shouldn't say his name, so I won't use his real name, but it rhymes with Todd McCary, headed to the cruise lounge. And you know how when you can look in somebody's eyes and tell if they're really sick or not?
Oh, yeah.
Their eyes are too bright when they're not really sick. They're faking it. Todd's eyes are really bright, and he's smiling, but his mouth is like this.
Yep.
He's smiling.
Better get out of the way.
So I followed him into the cruise lounge, and ship's taking rolls, and he's standing up against two, I think 1 or 3, I don't remember. Anyway, he's watching as the ship rolls, and as the ship rolls down, so that the guys who are sick are on the outboard below him. You know, not huge, but they're down from him. That son of a gun has filled his mouth with milk, raisins, and oatmeal. And he just goes, it was like a sympathetic detonation, man. It just went off.
all over the place.
And
So I mean, coming out, let's get for us 41 for Freedom Boat guys coming out of Holy Lock. I mean, so the Brit boats. Well, you know, I always get somebody always debates this. Apparently, maybe it's American boats that do. Anyways, we were sinking trawlers, you know, running through their nets, and so we'd had to stay on the surface for 12 hours. So you had 12-hour, you know, maneuvering. Or not maneuvering watch. I'm thinking on my photo I posted, but 12 hours on the surface while you're going out to your patrol there before you can even dive. So yeah, it was state 6 seas, state 26 seas probably. What's the worst state? We were there.
So we I'm pretty sure it's not that hot.
So we had these plastic covers on the launcher panel. So you know, the ALOS is on a bench beside the launcher chair. He's puking. The LOS is puking, and then you're watching these clovers just fly up, and they come even, then they fly back down and come back up, and they're clicking. I'm like, oh, it was horrible. We're like, please dive, we got to get out. And it, you know, it was glorious, a sound to hear that diving bell go off just to get under. Yeah, it was crazy back then. But people that did patrols at then, they know what I'm talking about. I'm sure Fast Attacks have experienced some of this stuff, you know, where they may or may not have been, you know.
Hard to say because they won't tell us where they've been.
Yeah, as soon as they dive, I think they just dive right there as soon as they, you know, go on the continental shelf, and they just hang around right there. You know, they don't go nowhere. I don't think they do anything. I'm going to cause some hate and discontent.
Imagine being on an old Gato class or Bleo class on the surface and that stuff. Yeah.
Oh man, those guys were always on the surface, man. Oh yeah, if there's some World War II. Well, yeah, there's some guys that rode the diesels. They could tell. We interviewed one guy. We had him on here, the dentist. If you remember him, you know, he was on a diesel there for a while.
That was a fun night. It was on the Tridents. Machinery 1 is forward, so but Machinery 1 has a bilge in it, but it has a grate over the top of it that has a gate in it. But there's room in there to almost stand up, and you can probably fit, I don't know, I'm trying to remember 8, 9 guys down there if you pack them in tight. So the bilge was always had a little bit of water in it down below. So that's what we were telling people is, you know, if you're really not feeling good, go to Machinery One, go to the bilge, get down in there and watch the water slosh back and forth. It'll help your brain.
Really?
Yeah. And then we'd stand there and time them to see who could last the longest.
That's where you went to get underneath the diesel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to paint underneath that diesel. Many a refit.
Yeah.
Or I should call it refit resist.
We're going to get some guys. We're going to get some guys again saying, we need to get some fast attack people on there, and there's some sailors. I welcome it. I've always commented, send us an email. Yeah, we always put up the number, the contacts. I'm more than welcome to get some fast attack guys. Just the guy that makes the comment, contact us. We'll get you on here. I mean, we'd like to hear about the fact that you dove and then you're quiet for the rest of the podcast. Anyway, so.
we got a lot of new members while I was gone. The 11 days I was gone, I think we had like 32 new members. So if you're out there, you can drop us an email. You can get me at DolphinDave@slipperyfish.com.
And Eric at thesubbed.com.
Judd has an email address, but he's not a planner. He's not a show planner. So.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of different email addresses.
So, Judd, you got some stories to present for us today?
Sure. Well, let's start with the first one here. South Korea to allow female soldiers to serve on submarines in 2024. So the reason I kind of looked at that one and thought, wow, this is interesting in a way, is because I was up in Kings Bay for work and ran in is the right term, but encountered over 40 of our latest female submariners here on the East Coast.
Uh-huh.
And to me, it blew my mind. I was walking through the Group 10 building. They're off crew. They don't call it off crew anymore. They call it pre-deployment office or something like that.
Something special, yeah.
Something special because they're not off; they're always on. So we don't call it off crew anymore. But the idea that it was no big deal. I guess that's the thing. You walk in the building, and to me, it was like a little bit of a shock, but to everybody else, it was like, oh yeah, there's petty officer, this person, that person, and of course, I'm old, I'm ancient now, so everybody looks like kids because they are. And not disrespectfully.
And we
were
we never look like kids.
Yeah, right.
We were adults, man.
Exactly. We were adults. But I don't know. I mean, this is a headline because women are not on submarines. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but there are now apparently 2 missile techs, women missile techs.
But missile tech is also a much more expanded position now. It's not just ballistic missiles anymore. It's I've talked to people that are missile techs, do tomahawks and the like. So we actually have a guy in our base, you've a sub-vet's base, who's a missile tech. Went the pipeline, same pipeline I did. Tech, Virginia Beach, all that stuff. Did patrols. Got down towards the end of his career. They didn't have a place for him. So he said, send me to a fast attack. I'll do tomahawks. And he did.
Right.
Pittsburgh.
Right.
So yeah, missile
right.
tech.
But they're still obligated to know either, the Trident II weapons system. That is what you're tested on to make rate. You're not tested on tomahawk.
Right.
You'd be a
still, when I was in, which was even before these guys were in, it would have been nice to say, okay, you're a fire controlman. You want to do something different and maybe go 117 on a fast attack or something. It would have been nice to be able to do that. But boy, they just, in my day, they were not going to let FTBs go anywhere else, even though we were like 300% overmanned.
Yeah, I tried to go on a spec op boat and they were like, no. I said, well, how about send me to Antarctica? They said no. Tried those dream sheets.
Yep.
Keep dreaming because that's about what it is.
Right around 1990, they started allowing FTBs to cross rate.
Yeah.
We had guys go into radioman, sonar, and I put in to go OTM, Oceanographic Tech Maintenance.
Yeah.
To go to Woods Hole, and they laughed at me. First off, I was getting out in a year anyway, so they were like, no, we're not sending you there. But I'll re-enlist if you do.
Mhm.
No.
Well, I was going to get back to the story. I mean, going on with South Korea, I mean, that comes down to a cultural thing usually. I mean, if it's an issue, I mean, it was an issue kind of here, and I don't think it's an issue anymore. I mean, we're 10 years easy plus with women and more, probably 12. I think it was 2006 or 7, maybe. I think the first one. But, you know,
Start with
just
officers, and now it's
yeah, I
but
think it's a cultural, but like over in Europe, I mean, Sweden and even Australia. I mean, they've had women on board for a long time, so it's not a big deal to them.
Right.
So, I mean, it'd be interesting to know the culture in South Korea and if that's going to be a problem for them to get used to. And
well, the story says,
yeah, go ahead.
the story says the decision was made because of low birth rates and an aim to widen women's military roles. Is what's her, and they're the 14th country to implement such policy.
yeah,
So-
Japan recently did it this year too. It was earlier in the year. I remember posting a story about it.
I'm fascinated by this story because it says the South Korean military had stated that the restriction on women on board submarines was imposed because of the, quote, comparatively smaller vessels lacked basic female amenities, unquote. And nowhere in the story does it say that they added the amenities. In fact, what it says, it quotes I guess she's a female soldier saying, no, these amenities are just fine. We'll make them work. So they haven't changed anything on the boats. They've just changed the mindset.
Right. And, you know, maybe that's the whole thing, is that we're all uptight and we have every reason why we don't want change, but change comes, and honestly, people adapt to that change. I mean, there's been women on surface ships, war surface ships, for a long time. They've been making it work. And of course, we know there's problems that happen, but for the most part, they've overcome a lot of those problems, as far as I know.
Yeah, I'm going to try to get somebody to come on the podcast. You know, I know John Rennie, he's interviewed a few, and so I might be able to get a contact and see if we can get one on there. I bet they'd talk. I mean, just the same as that, you would be like, oh wow, that just submarine sailor. I mean, well, that's all it is now. You know, just another boat sailor. So
you're going to be singing Submarines once.
Yep, I know one personally quite well, and I can tell you, I can assure you that she is every bit as what's the word for it? Submarine. As I once was. I've mellowed with age, so I'm not.
She's as submariner as they come.
Yes. Yeah. Right down to the tattoo of dolphins on her forearm. So.
Right.
I mean, I'm not doing
that. Far as the missile, I mean, I had a story too. There was a report on the Virginia class attack submarine program, you know, procurement. So, I mean, this kind of gets into the AUKUS story too that I had. You know, so there was a story I posted a week or two ago that said that we already have Australian members. It could be officer enlisted or both. They're already training with our boats, is what the story said. So I don't know if there's a little politics there and that it's not happening yet, or they are doing it. It'd be interesting if somebody can, you know, send us a note if that's true or not. But, you know, so we can only build 2 Virginia class submarines a year right now. So the problem is if we start building some for Australia, how's that going to affect it? And along with the missile tech rate, I mean, these are Tomahawk shooting boats. So Block 5 have a lot of Tomahawks. So maybe the MTs are going to the Virginia class boats as well. So just an interesting note, a couple of other stories that I had.
Well, it's certainly going to ramp up construction, isn't it? I mean, right now, as I recall, and I may be incorrect about this, it's just EB building the Virginias. Does anybody know?
I don't think so.
No, it's between the Newport News and then, I mean, I think they're assembled at EB.
Right.
But the modules are built between the two of them. So I don't know if they're going to expand. Now, huh? Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe that's what will happen. We'll expand. I mean, I don't think it's set in stone who's going to build. I think we're the number one leader trying to lead. And I know England is still, you know, they're wanting to get into action. I mean, it's extra money, obviously, to get involved with that. But the idea is for Australia to get their yard up and going so they could start building boats too as well. So Be interesting seeing, well, if we don't blow each other up by then, with all that craziness with China and Russia right now.
There's certainly a lot of different countries, European countries building submarines. I mean, we know Germany builds a lot of submarines and sells them.
For a lot of countries, yeah. And Brazil's getting in the action. They're building a nuclear boat. Yeah, more people are interested in nuclear. I think we said this one podcast. I mean, it's just interesting how everybody is concentrating on fielding submarines now more than other, assets of the Navy. So they're not even thinking aircraft carrier groups like we got. They're just like,
right.
Well, we're just going right for the boats.
But that makes economic sense. An aircraft carrier is going to cost you billions, and then you still have to equip it. Plus, then you have to build the destroyers, cruisers, and stuff around it. That's a hell of an investment compared to a submarine, which, again, is expensive, but you don't have to have all the rest of the infrastructure as well. So,
but what's the mission? The mission is so different between a surface ship and an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, you're going to look at the carrier as projection, force projection.
Right.
Whereas your submarine is going to give you control of the sea lanes, which, of course, is what Mahan said is what it's really all about. I love aircraft carriers. Don't get me wrong. I always have. They fascinate me. But, we're getting to the point where if a frigate navy can control the sea lanes of control, SLOC, do you really need to spend $8, $10, $12 billion on an aircraft carrier? Now, for our doctrine, I think it works for projection and for, showing the flag. There's nothing more intimidating. But if you're not the United States of America with billions of dollars to invest in something like that, submarine makes more sense to me.
Well, you can't do Top Gun 2 without an aircraft carrier.
This is true.
or Top Gun 3, maybe.
Right? Top Gun 3.
I mean, Tom Cruise could be in the Navy for 100 years, I'm sure. I mean, that'll work out.
Did you guys see that movie?
Yeah, I really liked it. I think they pulled it off. The thing I enjoyed about it, I mean, it was a really family-friendly movie. I mean, it wasn't any crazy sex scenes in it. It was just a general, love story. Penny Benjamin, was the woman that, that was in that one. But, it wasn't any bedroom scenes like we saw in the last one. And the profanity was kind of low. So I think that's the high points a lot of people are saying. And they said it worked. They had
a love story. They had a love story, and a good love story.
I mean, they said Tom Cruise. I think it seemed like he was an inactive, like he was inactive reserves or something, doing test pilot stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, that wasn't really clear, and they kind of pulled him in because of it was a special mission. But I was like, well, it's movies. You gotta figure it out. So,
but my point was the idea that here you move a forward deployed, air asset, to a region, and then you do missions that are inland. And so that's such a different mission for a surface vessel, where submarine, the aircraft carrier never gets close enough to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie. I saw the first one back in when did it come out? I didn't even remember.
Oh, like 87, 86, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The movie I remember from that era was The Final Countdown. But I know I saw Top Gun because my sister-in-law was really into the volleyball scene, and she made us go see it for the volleyball scene. So that's all I haven't seen the new one yet.
Yeah, they got a similar scene like that, but they didn't overdo it too much. But
where's the fun in that? I mean,
doing beach football this time.
Don't ask, don't tell is gone. So
yeah,
can it appeal to everybody now?
No, I've always looked at aircraft carriers as a political chess piece, and my thing with them is if we go into all out war with a superpower, and China is now included, or Russia, how long is that carrier group going to last?
Well, we can barely keep them at sea right now. I mean, what do we got? 11 carriers active. I think it's 11 or 12. I don't remember. And at least half of them are in the yard somewhere.
Yeah.
So
And they grounded the F-35 because of
I saw
ejection
that.
seat problems. Yeah, I found that interesting. And we're getting ready to go to war right now. So
what are they going to
China's
fix it between now and the time?
Yeah.
Between the time Nancy Pelosi lands in Taiwan and we
It's
start.
Why don't you talk about that? Talk about that whole Nancy Pelosi thing. I'm curious what you're thinking about that there.
Well, I have a saying that Eric's not going to like, but I'm going to say it anyway. So if you have little children's, this is a saying that I've said for my entire radio career. And it goes simply like this. Attention whore is going to attention whore. That's what they do. And Nancy Pelosi is an attention whore. And look, do I mind poking China Z in the face with a stick? I don't mind that at all. But I don't think Nancy Pelosi is the person to do that, because who the heck is Nancy Pelosi? I mean,
so why is China saying they're going to shoot her down? And then is she really on the plane?
Yeah, she's on the plane. She left yesterday. But here's the thing.
She could do a Zoom call.
Right. Half this country, you know this as well as I do. Let's say the West Taiwanese decide to shoot her down because they don't want her there. Half this country is going to celebrate. Half this country is going to be like, okay. Yeah,
I've seen that on the Twitter feeds. I was seeing that.
Right. And suddenly Nancy Pelosi is the martyr who kicks off the war. This whole trip, I personally do not believe that politicians, particularly congressional politicians, that Congress, by its actions and by tradition, has always ceded foreign relationships to the presidency. We could have a long discussion from a constitutional standpoint of why that is, but even Supreme Court decisions have reconfirmed that it's the presidency, the executive, that is responsible for foreign relationships. Yes, the Senate has to advise and consent on treaties, but it's the executive's job to do that. Nancy Pelosi is not the executive. She doesn't need to be going on foreign junkets, because that's what this is. It's a foreign junket.
What is she going for?
I'm trying to figure that out. Yeah, there's no stated purpose.
I mean, is she just going on vacation and they're mad about that? I mean,
well, she's going to Asia, but now this trip is a sideline to go to Taiwan, which again, this is simply to, in my view, is simply to poke Z in the eye, saying, neener, 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 I can do this because attention whore is going to attention whore. That's what they do. From a purely political standpoint, it's not her job. If Joe Biden or the vice president, what's her name, Kamala Harris, were to do this, now you've got an executive department that's responsible for foreign relations, and Joe Biden has already said, we will go to war if you attack, going right. Over. That's a different thing. But to me, the Speaker of the House, and you could argue, okay, the Speaker of the House is third line to the presidency. I get it. But she's still not the executive branch. She's Congress, which isn't even the Senate. She doesn't even get to advise and consent on treaties. So why does she need to go there? This is simply an attempt.
What does China know that they're in a fit about it? Matter of fact, Russia I just saw them, they're siding with them too.
The answer to that question is very simple, Eric. All spending starts in the House of Representatives, which means that you're going over there to sell weapons to the Taiwanese, probably with kickbacks to her friends and relations and donors and the likes of that. This is simply, it's a junket designed to, make money for somebody, which isn't you or me. Somebody's getting rich on this trip, and it's not you or me. So,
well, I got it. I've got a theory. She's not on the plane. It's a setup. The F-35s are mysteriously grounded. So Tom Cruise and his F-18 Top Gun pilots are on the carrier group, and they're getting ready to go kick some butt. That's my theory. We'll ride with that
movie.
So here's the deal. I just was looking this up real quick, and it says the reason why they're all upset is she's not over there doing anything more than giving Taiwan legitimacy.
Right.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do. She's not over there to provide any sort of like agreements, or she's not doing anything. All she's doing is the fact that she shows up means that Taiwan gets this legitimacy as a sovereign nation, and China doesn't want them to have that.
But didn't they already get that when Biden said we'd go to war for them?
They do, but so the real question is, this is just rattling sabers. That's what this is.
And if really all you're trying to do is give legitimacy, that's what a vice president's for. That's what you do with a vice president. You send a vice president to do that, because really, if they go over there and accomplish something, great. If they don't come back, nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
Send the vice president. That's what presidents throughout history have done. I object to the Congress, the House, doing this, and it wouldn't matter if it was Nancy Pelosi or Newt Gingrich. In my view, it's not appropriate. It's just, like you said, it's just drawing attention to the thing, which is what they do.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, that's our political show for today. Yeah, Judd, did you have another story?
I do. I have one that'll take us into a non-controversial conversation. I
What's the
think
fun in that?
Can the kids listen?
The kids can totally listen to this next story, which is a great story. So, Disneyland update. Submarines dive as pass holders wait to resubscribe, because the submarine ride at Disneyland returns July 25th. Did you know at one time they were like the third largest submarine fleet?
I remember when they were named after the 41 for Freedom boats.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That's
what they're
right.
named
They were.
after. Yeah. I don't know what they're named after now, but they're back in action, and I know it's a big deal. They got rid of it here in Florida, but in California they still have the ride, and it was a big deal because OSHA has to clear them. They are really considered legitimate submarines, from what I've been told, not just ships. They're kind of like the submarines that they have in the Caribbean that don't actually dive, but people are down below and can see. I guess maybe that's because there's glass below the water line. Maybe that's what makes them a submarine.
Looks like they're all named after Finding Nemo, and they're all named Nemo or not. They're all named Neptune, and then they have a different number, 707, 107.
I see one called Seafarer.
Oh, yep, I see that too. Yep.
Yeah. So maybe there's a few other interesting names, but it's cool that it's a tradition that's been at Disneyland since it opened, or since that ride opened. They have, they didn't just fill it in with a bunch of dirt and get rid of it. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, because that in Orlando, that was always over by the racetrack, the go-kart.
Tomorrowland. They just
Tomorrow. Yeah. And then you go down the right, the submarine thing. But that was one of my favorite rides when I was a kid, going there. Because growing up in Orlando, I remember that. So, back when you got the tickets, I don't think it was an e-ticket ride though.
I don't know, but the thing about the submarine ride is that it's real. The water is real. You really are going into this, to some, it's a very controlled and cool thing, but there is, you really are moving around through that. You don't really do that with other kind of adventure rides. Yeah, you're on a track and stuff, but you don't have water like literally all around you like that.
What about the Pirates of the Caribbean?
Well, okay.
Yeah, water and pirates, man.
Well, you
got to avoid the cannonball shots. Those are real cannonballs in there, man.
They are. And they got rid of the redhead.
Yeah. Did they still have the giant squid attack? Because when I was a kid, that was the thing. You had the giant squid attack.
In what? The
submarine? Right.
Yeah, the submarine ride at the end. They had the big. Well, that's because it was 20,000 leagues under the sea. Yeah.
Which is still
great.
What does it mean by subscribe? Is that something new? Like subscribe, like people pay year round so that they can get in? Like
it's an annual pass holder program.
Yeah. If you go all the time. Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing that story when I posted. I'm like, what the heck are they talking about? Subscribe.
Disney had originally told key holders that they could renew their passes 45 days prior to their expiration date. But apparently people are waiting because they want the submarine ride, and they're getting dangerously close to that 30 days, that grace period, I guess. So but they haven't turned on the renewals yet. And this is making people who spend way more money than I ever would for a Disneyland pass.
Well, the other big news this week was the fire at EB under the Idaho, under the scaffolding. So being the Idaho, that means it was a baked potato. At least that's what I read in the comments. That's what somebody put it as, don't be putting in here that Idaho is a baked potato. But I thought that was quite humorous.
Do you know, talking about the submarine names, I still am having a hard time with the fact that they are naming a submarine the Montana.
Okay. Why?
Because did you see the movie The Abyss?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So before I made my first patrol, the first movie I saw was The Abyss.
Dave loves that movie. Just ask him; he'll tell you.
And watching that movie and watching the whole Trident submarine go through that whole flooding scene in the beginning of the movie just was like freak out city. And
they had the blue suits on and everything.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah.
You know, the one that still freaks me out is Ice Station Zebra, where the flooding scene from the torpedo thing. Man, I still have to scroll through that because I can't. It's just too intense for me.
So some of those movies get it right when it comes to water. I mean, the closest I would have to say is going in that trainer in the Get Wet trainers. And you can only imagine how much more it would really be. Right. And that was pretty intense.
So you're saying the Montana should just be considered an SSBN because it was in the movie? Is that?
It just has that reputation now.
That name's taken.
It's taken. You can't use it. It's already sunk. Done.
As long as we're talking Idaho, can I complain about Idaho?
Sure.
So I just in the last 2 weeks, I've driven back and forth to Oklahoma City, including all of Idaho, east to west. Now,
wow.
Idaho is, what's the word I'm looking for here? Barren. I mean, barren would be, it's boring. Idaho is more boring than Wyoming. That's how bad it is. Okay.
Wow.
But in the 1980s, I used to do this on a regular basis as well when I was an FTB2 with a nice red sports car. And the speed limit for some ungodly, stupid reason was 55. Do you know how many tickets I got in Oregon and Idaho and Wyoming for 75 and a 55? I could have paid for USS Idaho. And do you know?
I can't drive 55.
The last 2 weeks driving across those states at 80 freaking miles an hour while the cops just watch you go by because the speed limit's 80 now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that was the first time I saw it up there, South Dakota, that whole area, 80 miles an hour.
I want my money back. I want all that money I spent on these 75 and 55 zone tickets back. That was just to save gas, right? That's what they said. But then when everybody said, well, you're not saving any gas, then they came out with this. It's all about safety because we're safe at 55, which was nonsense as well. Anyway, I've enjoyed driving across this country at 80 miles an hour, but I do have a message for all of America. So I need you to listen carefully, Americans. This is very simple and it's very important. It's a concept that for some reason half this country has not learned. Slow traffic, keep right. If you're being passed in the right lane, we're in the wrong lane. Period.
So Dave, the one is laying on the horn when I'm driving the speed limit. Okay. You're that guy. I was wondering.
Hey, man, I was doing 80 and people were blowing by me. And Cammie says, my wife says, why don't you speed up? I said, I just don't really need to go any faster than 80. I'm happy doing 80. I would have been much happier doing 80 40 years ago when they wouldn't write me tickets for it. But, dude.
Did you get everything taken care of over there? Because, I mean, I know you were gone for a few weeks.
No, my father and my sister are both still on hospice. So who knows what's going to happen. It's it's very possible I could be heading back soon. I hope not.
It's a fluid situation. Yep. Yes. Yep. Sorry to hear that. So, yeah.
If I do it, 80 miles an hour. 85, 5 miles an hour over.
I remember doing that trip from Connecticut several times on extended weekends, during off Peru. It was 55. You're right. And then you get to the Carolinas and they got the speed trap set up. They'd get you. Yep. I remember I had the detector, speed detector. Speed detectors. That's what they called them, right?
Yeah. Radar detectors.
Radar detectors. That's what it's been so long. But I remember everybody had one of them. But to me, it was like missile lock. As soon as I came over the hill, and I just pulled over because I saw the lights come up. So yeah, I got a few tickets back in the day, running back and forth to the house. So
who should be ticketed. So the Russians now have their Borai class ballistic missiles. Have you seen they're painting them now with the stupid Z, the Ukrainian invasion symbol on them? They're nowhere near Ukraine. They're up in the north. Yeah,
there's a bigger reason for that. Whatever, the meaning to Z. I don't know if you've ran into what they're implying by painting everything with a Z.
I don't have a clue what they're implying, but I know they've been marking their invasion vehicles with it for identification purposes. So.
Right. Maybe China will start doing it next, and then we'll know we're in trouble.
Other shapes used resemble an O, a V, and a Z inside a box, but the Z has become the most commonly seen one, and now they're painting it on their submarines.
Yeah, I did see that. It was on a submarine building too. Yeah, one of their bases.
That's right. When they painted the American submarine on the side of the building. Whoops. That was funny. Russians, man, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. So, well, other than that, I mean, I got the cool merch going. I've been posting some more things. It takes some time to get those designed. So, been concentrating on the coffee cups and mugs and stuff right now. Doing a series. I'm just trying to get a line of different boats out there to feel how people, just trying to see which ones they want. I'm saying right. Well, I'm going to mention it right now. If there's a boat that you're interested in that you want me to feature, please, email me, eric@thesubvet.com, or you can private message me through Facebook and we'll get you something up. You buy some merch from the Subvet, you go to thesubvet.com and go to the merch, which will take you to the store at Zazzle, and it helps out fund this program and the Subvet operations. So that'd be much appreciated. And also, if I know since things are really expensive, you just want to donate $1 or $2, I got the donate link on there too. Everything helps. So
I'd show you.
And I feel like I'm one of the guys standing on the highway with a hat.
I'd show you my Subvet podcast cup, but it's so freaking hot in here that I'm not drinking coffee today, which is
not drinking coffee. Yeah, I got the nice shirt on today. Got that in. I really like this one. So this is a really nice shirt. So.
Well, there you go. You can always get me at DolphinDave at slipperyfish.com, my website, www.thedavebowmanshow.com, if you want to keep up with my wanderings through things. I've kind of taken the rest of the month. I've taken the second half of July off, so I think I have one new podcast and all that, but we'll be starting up again here in August, so that's where you can get me.
And you can get me at eric@thesubvet.com. My website is thesubvet.com. You can also go to our Facebook group. So that is Facebook/groups/the Subvet, and then Twitter. It's Twitter. I think it's just twitter.com/the Subvet on that one. And that's where I post daily news, and you can, and also other people post in there. So they did. I don't know if you saw the rules. We apparently some of the admins too have denied some people, and it was by mistake. It's just they changed it. We're used to seeing yes to 2 questions, but right now I know they just say yes. So Dave, I know you're really particular, which I like, deny, so we got to be careful. But it just simply says yes, we got to let them in. But you just got to agree to the rules, and Dave won't get on in.
Right.
I'll let you into.
I think what they've changed is now you can come into the group, I think, without questions, but you can't post without agreeing to the rules.
So, did they update that?
Yeah.
To Facebook
yeah, they did another change. Yeah.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah. If you try to post or comment and it's the first time you've done it, it'll send the moderators an alarm saying, hey, this person wants to participate for the first time. So I click on it. I don't know what the other moderators do. And if it says agree to the rules, I just go ahead and hit approve. I don't even look at the comment. Now, I will say this. Some of our newer members aren't getting the concept that this is a submarine page. I'm not interested in your local politics of wherever the hell it is you are. So those posts get automatically denied. And I'm kind of a jerk about it. If I see 3, 4, 5 of them in a day, I may just throw you out. But I'm not interested in your politics or where you are. If it doesn't have something, if it's not obviously about submarines, it's not going to get through. All posts are moderated. So don't think you're going to sneak it through because it's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. And you got anything planned there, Judd?
Oh, yeah. Actually, it's not submarine related. Can I still plug it?
Of course.
Sure.
I'll approve you. Click.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm moderating a panel here at the end of August on fentanyl awareness here in Florida. Yeah, you probably know fentanyl is a huge problem, and being a former president of the Navy League here in this area and involved in a lot of local things, I was asked to do that. So I'm pretty excited about it, working with a lot of different organizations here to bring awareness to something that a lot of people don't really understand or know about. And thank God that there's a lot of people who it hasn't touched their lives, but believe it or not, it's so pervasive, it very well may in just a short amount of time.
Yeah, there's a lot of veterans that's gotten hooked on pain pills because of the war we've had for the last 20 years, or well, 30 years if you include the first one. But
well, once you can't get the legit prescription, people go for the fake prescription, so to speak, the fake pill. And those fake pills are not filled with the real drug. They're filled with, some sort of pill additive, to make the pill, and then fentanyl. And you don't know if you're going to get a lethal dose or a placebo effect. And
I think that would be fascinating. That's something I wouldn't even mind talking about somewhere else. You get it. There we go.
Well, we're talking about that. I'm working with the president of Blue Plaid Society, which is a great organization here in Brevard County, Florida.
You got a website or anything people can...
Yeah, blueplaid.org.
There you go.
Absolutely. Actually, you can send me an email judd@blueplaid.org.
Yeah, send me that link and I'll post it with today's show notes.
And on that note, Eric, are we going to try this again? Because we never...
It's you. I got it right in my head. And we are the Suspects. Ah, gosh, messed it up again.
Sounds like a gold crew problem.